So, I finished reading Demon Slayer last night, volume 23, the final volume, and there's two things that I want to talk about in this video. Number one is obviously my thoughts on Demon Slayer as a whole, the characters, the story, etc., etc. And the second thing that I would like to address is my apologies, because yes, I am aware that I only did volume reviews for volumes 1 to 18 and not the rest of them. Reason being, I got bored. I'm not even going to lie to you, I got bored of Demon Slayer, and that's probably a very controversial statement to a lot of you, because I understand that it's a very popular manga and it's also a very popular anime. That being said, my apology out of the way, my quick little explanation done, I want to get into my thoughts on Demon Slayer as a whole. As you can tell from the title, I do believe that Demon Slayer was a little bit overrated. I wouldn't say very extremely overrated, but I don't think personally that it was as good as everyone makes it out to be, in my personal opinion. I really enjoyed the artwork, right? The sword techniques, the breathing techniques, like when you read the manga. I enjoyed the artwork, the effort and the creativity that 100% went into drawing and creating and thinking about those. And, you know, I also liked the story, the plot line, you know, the idea of Demon Slayer as a whole a little bit. But my biggest issue was I think there were so many characters that were just wasted potential, particularly the Hashira more than anyone else, and Doma. What I mean by that is, when I first started reading the manga, I really enjoyed it, right? And up until volumes 16, I'd say, up until the Infinity Castle arc, I was really enjoying it. And then once we reached the Infinity Castle with the battles, the fights against the upper rank demons, and then eventually Muzan Kibutsuji himself, I got bored. I got really, really bored. And here's why. I thought the fight against Akaza was really well. I don't think the consequences of the fight were all that high, at least as high as they should have been, considering he was upper rank 3. But he is definitely my favourite character in all of Demon Slayer, mainly due to his background, his personality and his character in general. But I like his design as well, you know, the way he looks, his attacks, all of that. The fight against Doma, I think, was the biggest fucking disappointment in all of Demon Slayer. Like, how were you upper rank 2 and you went out in what was essentially what felt like 5 to 10 minutes? And look, I know Shinobu was one of the Hashira and she was really, I wouldn't say powerful, but she was intelligent, right? So I understand that the poison is what took Doma out and the combat was pretty much useless. I just think he went out way too easily. It was quite boring, bit of a letdown, very predictable, at least in my opinion. And then the fight with Kokushibo, I think was actually really, really good, really well done, and I have no complaints about that. The only complaints I have about that fight is when we discovered that Muichiro is the direct descendant of Kokushibo. I think there was so much potential there, so much could have been done with that information and with Muichiro's character from that point on, but nothing was done. He just ended up dying. Like, and yeah, he put up a good fight and he did some cool shit, but like the biggest waste of potential in Demon Slayer, potentially, in my opinion. The fight with Muzan was really, really good. I enjoyed the fight with Muzan. The consequences were just as high as I expected them to be. But I would have liked to have learnt more about the individual characters themselves. I wish they sort of had more screen time, more pages dedicated to them. But I understand that as a manga creator, you probably don't really have all that time and all that space available to do all of that. So I can 100% understand it, at least from Gotoge's perspective. But I think it wasn't as good as everyone makes it out to be. Like, did I enjoy it? 100%. My favourite characters were probably, I liked Tanjiro, I liked Muichiro, I liked Akaza. Giyu was pretty cool as well. Tsunami was cool, the Wind Hashira. I mean, Kokushibo was kind of cool, I guess. And also Muzan. It was really basic, you know, and I understand that it's a shonen manga, so like it's going to be basic and mainstream to a pretty large extent. But I just felt like it was really, really predictable up until the end, the final battle with Muzan. Like, up until that point, it was just kind of feeling like, and especially during the Infinity Castle arc, during the fights with Akaza and Doma, it just sort of felt like good guys show up, bad guys show up, good guys and bad guys fight, good guys win, they might take an injury or a beating or two, bad guys die, end of story, game over. And look, Some of you might like that, some of you might find that really enjoyable. I just kind of found it really boring and predictable. And whilst I definitely enjoyed the story and the characters to an extent, I enjoyed the artwork and the techniques, like the lore behind it more than anything else. But other than that, I didn't really enjoy it all that much, and I 100% felt like I had to force myself to finish Demon Slayer rather than reading it because I wanted to or because I was enjoying it. I just felt like the only reason I even finished Demon Slayer was because in my head I was like, well, you have the entire collection, you haven't finished it yet, so you might as well finish it now, otherwise it's a waste of all the time you spent reading up until the point you're at and all the money you spent buying the individual books. All in all, I would give Demon Slayer a 6.5 to maybe a 7 out of 10 because look, I don't think it was awful. I don't think it was terrible. I don't think it was the worst manga to ever reach the face of the earth. I think it was pretty good. It was pretty enjoyable. And I think particularly if you're a young teenager, say between the ages of like 12 to 16, I'd say, I know 12 technically isn't a teenager, but like age range, I think you would enjoy it. I think it's very good. And I enjoyed it too. It just got really predictable and boring, at least in my opinion anyway. I felt like the characters, a lot of them were just let down, particularly Doma more than anyone else. Like, how are you upper rank 2 and you go down that quickly and that easily and almost, I'm not going to say effortlessly because obviously Shinobu died, but it was all planned anyway. Like, she planned to die. It's not like it was unexpected and she was defeated miraculously and suddenly. Like, no, it was all planned out. And towards the end as well, when we got to see like the descendants of the Hashira in like modern day Tokyo, that's pretty cool, I guess. But like, did any of you really care about that? Like, I felt like that kind of took away from the magic of Demon Slayer, like the mystery a little bit. And I understand it takes place in Taisho era Japan, which is in the 1900s, which realistically isn't that long ago, I suppose. I just feel like it took away the mystery and the sort of the fantasy element of Demon Slayer quite a lot. And I understand that there were no more demons left at that point, so I guess there is no more fantasy to be had. But come on, man, that's boring. Like, in my opinion anyway, that's pretty boring. So, at the end, when Tanjiro became a demon, that was pretty unexpected. I did not expect that at all. I thought that was pretty cool. However, it lasted all of 5 to 10 minutes. It was pretty easy to bring him back. He didn't even end up killing anyone. Like, yeah, he injured Nezuko a little bit, but I mean, who cares, right? It was. I feel like that was just put in there for the sake of being put in there to try and make the story a little bit more interesting and to try and drag it out a little bit more. At least that's how it felt to me. And on the topic of Nezuko as well, I would have really liked for her to have joined the fight against the upper rank demons and against Muzan. Like that scene where Tanjiro goes down against Muzan and Nezuko like escapes the house and starts running towards the battlefield and then becomes fully human before she gets there. I just think it would have been really cool and interesting to see her go hand to hand. Not even against Muzan, right? Like, yeah, that would have been cool, but just to see her fight in general against more demons, I think would have been really enjoyable for me personally. Because she was a demon with some pretty cool abilities, in my opinion. But all that being said, I think I've pretty much covered everything I was meaning to talk about in this video. Demon Slayer, overrated in my opinion, but not totally awful. Do I recommend it? Yes. Do I think you're going to love it beyond all belief? No, I imagine not, particularly if you've got similar taste in manga to me. But yeah, that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. This is Toshi, signing out.